the 2025 Democratic Party.
How relieved are you that the government's going to be open?
I mean, so relieved. I think my party crossed a line.
That's not
of
your party,
now, putting 42 42 million Americans with their SNAP benefits and making flying less safe and that kinds of.
It's just cruel to put him on TV right now. Continuing on the sports metaphor, Fetterman is basically Bobby Boucher.
Mama said that. My mama said that. My mama said that. My mama said that.
Now, not only would I do that for you, Trump. Oh, yes. Happy to do that for you, Mr. Trump. The poster child for brain damage. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, MJ. If it's your first time here, you end up liking this video. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, tell your neighbor, and let's get into it. Gavin Newsom writes pathetic. And you know what? Pretty much sums it all up, my governor right there. The worst part is, you realize that there is somehow a Schumer that's worse than Amy. I didn't know it was possible either. We've got this old, hunched over, bad-eyed, non-black Jewish version of Chris Webber running the Senate, right? Chris Webberstein and Associates, attorneys at law. We had the ball. We even got away with a travel in the backcourt, and through sheer panic, this guy right here, this party right here, called a timeout that we no longer have.
Calling a timeout. Technical foul.
But we're not losing to North Carolina like Chris Webber. No, we're losing to this.
H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration, because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent.
When we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents.
You don't have talented people here. I love this. You guys remember way back in 2015, all of his supporters called everybody a cuck. You're a cuck. You're a cuck. That's why you don't support him. And now full circle, there's nothing more cucked in the world than that hat on your head. You know what he's telling them? He says, yeah, you might have a phone, but you have no idea how to build a phone. You might live in a democratic republic, well, lived in one, but you have no idea how a democratic republic works. We're not a democratic republic. We're a constitutional republic. You might think that this is your country. Now sit down and watch me auction it off to my friends. Cucked. Over and over from the beginning, he tells them how dumb they are to their faces and that their only purpose in life is to serve him up with power. And then they roll over and take it. And when we tell them the same thing, they come up with an imaginary disease. You have a TDS. That's the only reason you think that. And then he tells them and they're like, yes, sir. Patriotism.
Who's responsible for why we got into this shutdown? We are here because we are concerned about the healthcare costs rising significantly on millions of Americans.
What'd you get out of it?
And we didn't have any indication before the shutdown started that our Republican colleagues were willing to address it. Now, Speaker Johnson is going to have to bring the House back in. He's been AWOL since the beginning of September when we were in the middle of the shutdown.
And what do you think is going to happen?
Leader Thune has agreed that we will have a bill that we will write that will give us an opportunity to work on those health care costs. And we believe there are a lot of Republicans, including a lot of Trump supporters, who want to see us do something about this because their costs are going up.
All they want to do is stay on Snap. Think their mouth here, who I am trying to place maybe 70 years old. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, she's much too old to believe this naive crap she's expecting us to believe. Mike Johnson said he will give us time to talk about it.
Well, that's ridiculous. That can't be done.
Ridiculous.
Will you assure the House members that they'll get a vote, House Democrats, that they'll get a vote on ACA subsidies by a date certain?
No, because we did our job, and I'm not part of the negotiation. The House did its job on September 19th. I'm not promising anybody anything. I'm going to let this process play out. I tell you what they wanted.
What did old Jeanne Sheehan say? You hear that, Jeanne Sheehan? We got a deal out of it to save the ACA. And if old sphincter mouth here would have waited just a couple more days before crapping her depends on live television, we have explicit emails on record saying not only did President Kankles know about the whole thing with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, but that he was spending time with the victims. From Jeffrey Epstein. You see, I know how dirty Donald is. My guess is that non-lawyers, New York biz people have no idea what it means to have your fixer flip. This email is from 2018. Donald Trump had been president for 2 years. What Epstein is saying is that they had a deal, which we'll get to, where Donald Trump was his fixer. I'll give you one guess, one underage guess what Jeffrey Epstein needed fixing for. Let's go back to 2011, what he's saying. I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. The victim, whose name has been blocked out, spent hours at my house with him. And then Ghislaine says, I've been thinking about that. 2011, the dog that hasn't barked, hasn't squealed on him yet. And Ghislaine says, I've been thinking about that.
Thanks for being here, Bev. Ouija.
Thank you, Caroline.
Sure.
I have your statement about the new Epstein emails that have been released by House Democrats. Separate from why you believe the emails were made public, can you address their substance? Did the president ever spend hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house?
Did he, Caroline?
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. And this email you refer to with the name of a victim that was unredacted now. And
so they keep repeating this same lie. I noticed Caroline doesn't have her cross on today. Back in 2015, they said the same thing. Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago when he found out about it. Only for Trump to say himself the reason they weren't friends anymore is because Jeffrey Epstein literally stole an underage girl from his masseuse parlor. It's one of these things where everybody around him lies to try to protect him. And then he's so, whatever you want to call it, he just spurts out the truth and undermines their narrative. But it doesn't matter that he said that, you know. She goes right back into this made up story. 2019, Jeffrey Epstein emailed to Michael Wolff. He says the victim's name at Mar-a-Lago. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never remember. Of course he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. The man who they put in there, the man who she's lying about, like I said, no cross today, knew about this ring that was going on, about these underage girls. And another thing, these people like Jake Tapper and Micah Wolff keeping all of this stuff private so they can put it in their books at a later date. It's literally what's killing journalism. Jeffrey says, read the BuzzFeed on my airplane logs. This was in 2015. Was old Benny Johnson plagiarizing over BuzzFeed back then? Maybe he knows about this. Maybe he plagiarized whoever was going back and forth for this article. He says, have them ask my houseman about Donald almost walking through the door. Slapstick comedy. Leaving his nose print on the glass as young women were swimming in the pool. And he was so focused, he walked straight into a door. And this was in response to Donald Trump's quote where he says, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do. And many of them, wink, wink, nod, nod, are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life. I've been hanging out with one of these underage girls at his house. I have my nose print on the glass window from trying to get out there so fast. There's no doubt in my mind that Ghislaine is leaking these because she wants a pardon, a full pardon. So she's leaking evidence we should already have, but is locked away. She's leaking it as blackmail. It's not subtle. It's not complicated. It's the political equivalent of her texting old Kankles here saying, you up, with court exhibits attached. Get me out of this prison. One of the craziest emails is where he's talking to him about Putin, right? Jeff says, I think you might suggest to Putin that Lavrov can get insight on talking to me. June 24th, 2018. I want you to remember that date. I'll meet Lavrov's assistant on Monday and will suggest thank you for a lovely evening. Churkin was great, Jeffrey says. He understood Trump after our conversations. It's not complex. He must be seen to get something. It's that simple. And I want you to remember how Epstein operates so long. He had blackmail on all these people. This is him in 2018 reaching out to the Russians. 2018. A week later, if you remember, a bunch of GOP senators took a cute little 4th of July trip to Russia. And what did they have in their hand? A sealed envelope from Donald Trump. This was less than a month after that email from Epstein wanting to be put in contact with Putin. I wonder what he gave him.
National Affairs correspondent Jeff Zeleny, he is at the White House for us. Jeff, good to see you. Sources telling CNN that top administration officials met today in the Situation Room.
Oh, really?
About the House vote. What does that tell us? What are we learning?
Well, Casey, look, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that in the briefing today, confirming our CNN reporting that Lauren Boebert, of course, a single member of Congress, not a leadership member, not on any key committees, had that meeting in the Situation Room with the Attorney General of the United States, with the Deputy Attorney General, with the FBI Director. And of course, Lauren Boebert is one of the Republicans who has said she would cross over and sign that discharge petition, which would allow the House to go forward and vote on releasing the Department of Justice Epstein files. Lauren Boebert has just told our colleagues on Capitol Hill that she has no plans of changing her pledge to vote for that. But
she's not going to change her pledge for that. Look at her. They came from my girl Boebert. Don't they know she has both beauty and character? Also, that picture's a good lesson to find someone much uglier than you to stand next to you. The sign's a little racist, but in a foxhole, in a Boebert hole, there really is only Hep C. I think that's the say. I digress. Let's not bury the lead. President Kankles used the 9/11 room, right? I want you to take a second, okay? I mean, if you're close to my generation, picture, this picture right here. You got Obama, you got Hillary, they're all shocked. In that picture, they're offing Osama bin Laden. And here we are with Kankles using the 9/11 room to sit with the head of the FBI, the head of the Justice Department, the Attorney General, Pam Bondi. They're bringing in old Lauren Boebert, And they're trying to convince her in the Situation Room, in the 9/11 room, they're trying to convince her not to release the files on one of the most prolific rings in the history of the world. Trump's 9/11 is quite literally Jeffrey Epstein.
Given your interest in transparency, Caroline, why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Why is that?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency? Doesn't that show the level of transparency when we are willing to sit down with members of Congress and address their concerns? That's a defining factor of transparency, having discussions with members of Congress about various issues. And I'm not going to detail conversations that took place in the Situation Room, in the press briefing room. Reagan.
Transparency. She says we're the most transparent. That's why there's transparency in the Situation Room. And then she goes on to say in the next breath, I will not detail those transparent conversations. We're the most transparent administration. We're so transparent that you see right through us. You can't see anything. We're not going to answer anything. We're completely invisible. Now let's cut to the white nationalists to see what they have to say. MAGA is dead. Strong words, Nick. Is that counting or not counting gang violence? In the end, does it matter that we have a pedo as president? Does it really matter? Because all we wanted from the election, right, from the exit polls, were to bring down the prices of everything. And that's exactly what he did. Oh, did I say bring down? I meant to say he exploded all the prices. Hamburger is $30. We went to Costco. Hamburger is like $30. A steak, forget about it, $100. Make America healthy again.
Madam Chair, I have an amendment to the rule. I move the committee make an order amendment 49 to the Senate amendment to H.R. 5371.
What's that?
Offered by Representative Horsford. which provides that all financial support provided to Argentina not explicitly authorized by Congress is hereby terminated, and $40 billion is hereby appropriated to go towards extending the Affordable Care Act's extended tax
sounds like
credits
a great idea,
through
gay
December
scallion.
31st, 2027. We heard earlier from my colleague, Congressman Horsford, that it is madness that Donald Trump is sending a $40 billion bailout to Argentinian hedge fund investors during a government shutdown and at a time when he is also arguing that we can't afford to help American families buy health insurance. So while families are going hungry and Americans are begging Republicans to prevent their health care premiums from doubling, and Republicans were saying we couldn't afford it, Donald Trump was busy sending billions to his buddies abroad.
That gay Scanlon has
this
a
amendment,
point.
We want to give our Republican colleagues another chance to distance themselves from the policy and political failures of this White House. Please vote for this amendment. Show the American people that you care more about their health care than the Argentina politicians who are receiving billions of taxpayer dollars. I urge a yes vote on my amendment, and I yield back.
Is there further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, the question is on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Look, it's cross-eyed Fox.
Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. Ms. Scanlon requests a recorded vote.
This old biddy doesn't care. She's got about 3 good months left on this earth. They're literally out here saying you can take that $40 billion you're sending to a libertarian South American failed experiment to this guy. Pretty cool, right? That your tax dollars are going there. My tax dollars go to Florida, Mississippi, Missouri, Louisiana, Arkansas. And now this guy right here, they're saying, let's redirect that $40 billion, make America healthy again, and let's put it into the ACA. And I'll tell you what, if they consider this America first, I would hate to see what America last looks like with these people. But I guarantee 6 more months of this crap, we will know. They support a pedo president while sending every cent of your tax dollars to South America. You know what I mean? In order to do that, it almost seems like...
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If it's your first time here, you like the video, make sure you subscribe. You've been here a while. Gotta support the channel so I can do this more often. Become a member. And that's all I got for you.
Mama said that. Mama said that. Mama said that. Mama said that.